Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Candice. Today we are going to be giving some encouragement to the men out there. Before we do that though, I want to give a little disclaimer. My cats are very active this morning, so if you hear little stampeding feet or things of that nature, it's just them being rambunctious. We're going to ignore it and keep doing this video. And I am trying to get on a schedule of putting out a video every Friday for you guys. Lord willing, I will be able to do that. Last Friday, it just didn't happen. Life got in the way, those days just happen. So, but we're putting one out today, and I'm hoping to get one out each Friday in the future, Lord willing. All right, let's pray, and then we'll dive right in. God, thank you so much for making all of the really great men out there that are after your own heart, the men who are stepping up and trying to follow your footsteps and really be led by you. I pray that you would use my mouth and my words to encourage your sons out there today. Whatever it is you want me to say, whatever you want them to hear, bring them to this video and let them know that it's you who brought them here, and that this is something you want them to hear. I ask that you would bless everyone's week, even the women who are watching this video, because I know there's going to be some clicking on it just to see what's being said, and there's going to be some stuff in there for them too. I ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Okay, so God just kind of has had this on my heart this week, that the men out there, the godly single Christian men out there, could use some encouragement. So that's why we're here today. God has a big heart for you men out there. He really does. I mean, He has given you guys so much responsibility. He has given you guys, leadership roles, and He gives you the spiritual headship over your future families. And He just gives you so much on your shoulders and so much on your plate. And I think a lot of the time, it's not acknowledged, especially by women. I think we don't fully understand the amount of stuff that's on your guys' shoulders. Girls. And so it's hard for women to really grasp how hard it is for men this day and age. I mean, all godly masculine traits are being villainized. I mean, in media and videos and all these things, anything regarding actually being a man is seen as misogynistic or some horrible trait. And you guys are being villainized just for being a man after God's own heart. And that's not okay, of course. So we're here to encourage you guys a bit. Specifically the single men out there. We're going to talk about it a little bit, but church culture in regards to single men is kind of lacking. Let's face it. Church culture in regards to single men, it's kind of gone with the culture in ways that it shouldn't. I mean, for instance, I was at a group thing once with a lot of, young adults, early 20s to mid 20s, right? And the guy who was up on stage was well-meaning, of course, but he was telling the men in the audience that they should be slower and more cautious and, less direct when approaching single women, to let them know that they're interested. And in a culture where most relationships, even in Christian circles, tend to last 2 to 3 years before anybody even pops a question, or it's months and months of the woman being well, does he like me? Does he not? Is he just being a friend? I don't know, and I mean, things already move at a glacial pace a lot of the time, so for men to then be even more like encouraged to not express godly pursuit and godly traits. I just find it really weird. I think it's important, for men, right? It's important for you guys to be leaders, to step up and be led by God, especially when it comes to, finding a future wife. It says, he who findeth the wife, what does it say? It's in Proverbs. He who findeth the wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth the favor of the Lord, right? That's Proverbs. It's in chapter 18. It's he who finds a wife. And yet I think a lot of the times it's been taken to be like she who pursues a husband and manipulates him into being with her, or she who makes herself incredibly available and, the guy then settles for her, instead of actually being he who finds a wife, right? And God laid that responsibility on men for a reason. You guys are the ones who are supposed to lead in a family spiritually, right? So it only makes sense that he would have you also lead the pursuit of the relationship, right? Kind of sets the precedent for the way things are supposed to be. And I know every which old way, like, you guys are being discouraged from doing that, from stepping up, from leading, from pursuing, and from just like making your intentions known. But I'm here to tell you, on behalf of a lot of Christian women, right? A lot of Christian women, we appreciate men who step up. We appreciate it when a guy actually makes his intentions clear, when he says, hey, I like you and would like to get to know you better and would like to pursue a relationship with you. Like, we like that because it takes the questioning out of it. It's like, a lot of the times we'll get it where it's like, okay, this guy is, circling around us a lot. This guy is trying to engage us in conversation a lot. He's obviously going out of his way to be near us, but he's not saying anything or making his intentions known. So it's like, you get this questioning as a woman. We get this questioning in our heads like, okay, is he interested? Is he not interested? Should we be encouraging this situation? Should we not be encouraging this situation? Like, it just leaves a lot of questions in our head if you guys are of the wishy-washy variety. But when you're direct, it then puts the ball in our court, right? If a guy comes up to me and says, hey, I'm interested in you and I would like to pursue a relationship, then it's totally in my court whether or not I am going to receive that, or I'm going to be like, in a very, kind way, be like, sorry, but I'm not interested. Then it just puts it on me. It makes it very clear for me, right? As a woman, it makes it very clear when you guys are direct, when you guys state your intentions, when you guys take the initiative like God made you to do, it just makes it so much easier for the women. And we appreciate it, right? And we're attracted to it, okay? When you guys are bold and brave and you guys go out of your way to make your intentions known, we are highly attracted to that because as godly women, that's what God made us attracted to, right? Why do you think, romance movies and romance novels do so well? billion-dollar industries, right? And mostly it's women that are consuming these things. They're consuming these things because, those masculine traits are what are being shown, usually. A lot of these more modern movies, not so much, but usually, the actual godly masculine traits are being portrayed, right? And so it's the man pursuing the woman, and that's why, women are attracted to these books and things and the characters in them. It's because God made men to be masculine, and we are naturally attracted to that. Okay, so for those of you who single men out there, right? Be bold, be brave. We do appreciate it. We really do. I mean, come on, where would the world be if we did not have masculine men? The world would go to pot. Seriously. I mean, come on. all the infrastructure is pretty much built by you guys. You know, you guys are construction workers and building things and building empires and building businesses and, you know, doing the physical labor stuff that women can't really do so well. You know, like, heck, all of the garbage men are men, in my neighborhood at least. You know, the ones who are coming and doing construction or doing plumbing or doing all these things are men, right? Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to fix a leaky toilet very well. But on a more serious note, we need you guys as much as you need us. And we need you to be led by God and to be an example of godly masculinity to the men around you as well as to the women. Okay? We need that. We do. And we appreciate it. And we're sorry if you've been, you know, if any woman out there has been rude to you because of those traits or has, you know, rejected those traits in you. Those traits are God-given, and the right woman that God has for you is going to love those traits, okay? So don't be discouraged about that. What else did I have here in my notes? The rejection thing, okay? I know as women, I don't think we fully get it, but we can acknowledge the fact that it is very hard for you as men to, you know, go up to a woman and state your intentions, you know, be like, hey, I like you, you know, stuff like that, and to try and pursue a relationship. Like, I can't even imagine the amount of times most men have been rejected in that, and that rejection can take a toll on you, especially if the rejections are harsh, right? A note to women out there, if a guy has gone through the process of being brave and taking a risk and asking you out, please, if you are not interested, let him down nicely. I mean, come on, that's the least we can do as women, right? If we are, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, a guy who's very unattractive to you or you just think has all these character traits that you don't like, right? If he has actually gone through the process of, you know, gathering his courage, coming and talking to you, and then putting himself out there and asking you out. Like, the worst thing you could do is sit there and mock him and scorn him and make him feel like less of a man, right? We want to be kind to these men, right? Because think about it, our own future husbands, do you want your own future husband to have confidence issues because some other woman was very, very rude to him and like scorned him for daring to ask her out? Like, if you wouldn't want your own future husband to be treated that way, then you shouldn't be treating somebody else's future husband that way. Just saying. But with the rejection thing, I know you guys get a lot of rejection, and I would hope that it's, you know, gentle, kind rejection, but I know a lot of it isn't. And I want you to be encouraged that all you need is one godly woman who God has for you to say yes. Just one. And when she does say yes, right, all of those other rejections are no longer going to matter. They're not going to be on your radar because you'll be happy with the woman that God has for you. And so don't give up just because a couple of women have said no. Don't, you know, stop trying or stop trying to pursue just because a few women out there weren't worthy of your time and weren't worthy of your effort and couldn't see your heart and how much of a good man you are, right? Don't give up because of that. The right woman, right? When the right woman comes along, when God brings her into your life, the right woman will see your heart. The right woman will be kind to you. The right woman will be gentle and at ease with you. She won't deliberately try and hurt you, right? I mean, I think it's a big sign of maturity how we as women handle when a guy pursues. It's like, that is really a test of maturity. Because when you think about it, okay, like a lot of singles, Christian and otherwise, a lot of singles will go into relationships even if they know they're not ready for marriage. And that in and of itself is the sign of immaturity, right? Because if you know you're not ready for marriage and you're going into this relationship anyway, you know that there is a huge potential that your heart and the person's heart that you are messing with, shall we say, even if you're trying to have a good relationship, that other person's heart, you are then trying to tie them together. And if you're not ready for marriage, that is going to end in heartbreak for either one or both parties. And more than likely, it's going to be both, right? I mean, years and years ago, when I first really just started desiring marriage, right? I was like, okay, God, I'm ready. Let's go. But God had to sit me down and be like, hey, you're not ready yet. There are things that you still need to work on. There are trust issues that you still have to come to me about. There are things that I need to take you through and work you through before you are ready to enter into a marriage, the marriage that I have for you, right? And so for me, at that point in time, even though there were men, sorry guys, my nose is just itching. Oh my goodness, every time I do one of these videos, it gets so itchy. Yeah. I had to, even though there were men at the time that I was attracted to, right? And I got the feeling maybe that a few might be attracted to me. At that point, I had to make sure that I was not encouraging those relationships, not encouraging a pursual, right? Because I knew in my heart that if I encouraged a pursual at that point in my life, in that season of my life, that I would end up either getting hurt myself or hurting the man who is pursuing me. And that wouldn't be fair to him. It wouldn't be fair to him. It wouldn't be fair to myself. It wouldn't be fair to my future husband down the road, whoever it might be. You know, like, it's not fair to go into something if you know you're not ready for it, right? And this is what our culture does. I mean, people go into relationships when they're in high school, and there's like no way they're ready for marriage in high school, right? There's no way, you know, the man is financially stable or they're going to be ready to get married right away. And so, you know, like, going into it before you're ready is not the most mature thing to do. So I think it's important to know where you're at, to be with God and to have that deep relationship with God. I'm talking to men and women here, to have that deep relationship with God so you know when you are ready and you ask God to be like, hey, you know, I have this desire for marriage. You've given it to me. Am I ready for it yet? Or is this desire here right now so I am motivated to get ready for it, right? And you ask God to work on you and to pull you through all the things that he needs to pull you through to get you where he needs to get you to be ready for that marriage. And then, you know, of course, as time goes on and you start healing from those things and everything, of course, and you're getting ready, you know, then of course you're going to be more attractive to the opposite sex, and this goes both ways. But I think it's still important to be led by God. Guys, don't bump the computer. And I think especially for the men, right? Like, for you guys have to be in a place where you are continuously being led by God. That way you are ready to then lead a family, to lead a wife, to lead kids, you know, to be the spiritual head of your home. And for women, of course, we have to be trusting God and submitting to God regularly. That way we are ready to then come underneath the headships of our husbands when the time is right. And I think another big sign of maturity, especially amongst the Christian community, single community, is going to God about your future marriage and not just praying for your future husband or your future wife, although that, of course, is a good thing to do. I think what's been lost in a lot of church culture is actually, like, going to God about who the person is, And being led by God, be like, hey, God, you know who my future wife is. You know who my future husband is. I would like you to help me get ready to be the person that they need. Or I would like you to show me who they are when the time is right. Please lead me to them, right? I've seen a lot of couples get together and neither one actually bother to ask God if the other person is their person. I find that a little weird. I personally think God is a much better matchmaker than I could ever be, right? Because God knows my heart in and out. God knows things that I don't even know about myself. Like, God knows me. He knows what I need. He knows what will trigger me. He knows, which areas I need to stretch in and grow in. And he knows what will be good for me in a partner, right? And he also knows that partner, he knows that partner inside and out. He knows that man inside and out, and he knows exactly what he needs, right? And so I think it's really important to involve God in the process. And I encourage, of course, the men to really, because you're the ones who are supposed to be pursuing and finding a wife, right? That's kind of on your shoulders. That's your responsibility. It's our responsibility as women to receive or not receive, right? But on your shoulders is the responsibility of pursuing and finding her. That's what God has for you, right? And so, especially on your end, it is so important to talk to God and be like, okay, God, who is she? Where is she? When the time is right, show me who she is so I can go find her and I can go get her, right? Show me who she is. Show me the traits that she has. Give me signs so I'll know who she is, and when I stumble across her, like being led by God so then you find the woman he has for you, right? Because we don't want to waste our time and our energy on a bunch of different relationships and get our hearts tied up into different people who aren't our future spouse, right? We don't want to end up getting hurt and having to then untangle all of these ties, heart ties that we have to other people. I mean, that just muddies the waters when it comes to actually, getting into the proper relationship and complicates things, like I've seen a lot of couples who've been together 2+ years with the same person. Neither one is really thinking about marriage, but they've intertwined their hearts so much in their lives so much that then when, the inevitable breakup happens, having to unravel all of that and pull yourself back together it's so difficult and so hard for these people to go through. And my heart breaks for people who are going through these things, because when you tie yourself so much like that, it's, in the Bible it talks about two becoming one, right? And that's what naturally starts happening if you are spending copious amounts of time with this person and basically acting like you're married without actually being married. The two will then start to become one. And so I think it's important just to have that two becoming one, hopefully just with the person that God has for you. And to do all of this, to say all this, like, as, men, you guys have so much responsibility on your shoulders, and so much of this falls to you, right? So I want you to be encouraged. I don't know, it's been on God's heart, and he's been pressing it on my heart that you guys should be encouraged to step into that role, to step into being the pursuer, to step into, being led by him to the wife that he has for you. I mean, it's going to be the biggest decision of your life, right? Having the wife that God wants next to you will enrich your life in so many ways that you can't even describe. And in the same way, having someone who God does not want for you next to you is going to have a lot of unintended consequences, and could lead you down the wrong path and take you astray from things. But when God has, the right person there next to you, like, He's already thought about this person's heart. He's thought about your heart. He made you two for each other before you even born, right? He knows what's going to happen before it happens. He knows how much power and influence spouses have over each other. He knows how much having the right person next to you can elevate you and influence your life to way more positive, great things if that person is the right person and is a positive influence on you. Like, he knows how it will be and he knows how it'll work out. So I think that's just what I wanted to say. I don't know that I've got anything else for today. All right, guys. I hope you're encouraged by this. And if you're a man watching this, hey, check what I say. Take everything what I say with a grain of salt. I'm a woman. I can only speak from a woman's perspective. If you have any comments, of course, always leave them down below. I review them and then I'll post them out. Talk to you guys next time.